Alright, what's up you guys? Welcome to another action figure review. As today here on the RetroShArK, we're going to be looking at none other than Jab from StreetShark, which is from the 30th anniversary of the StreetShark lines from the Mattel company. Thank you for being patient, as this figure took a long time to actually get here, and I know there's already reviews of this figure out there, but as you guys know, we're going to have some fun with this review as we're going to do a comparison of the original figure with this new latest 30th anniversary version as well. Without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and take a look at Jab. And if you guys don't know, StreetShark is one of my all-time favorite 90s cartoons, and based on the name of my channel, of course you know I'm a shark lover. So let's take a look at Jab in his packaging, and we can see has the standard shark cage, which looks pretty cool. And last time when I did my Ripster review, I said this was I Bite. This is actually One Bite, so thank you for correcting me in the comments. Here we can see it says Jackhammer Headbutt, which is one of the coolest features and gimmicks of this character. And since he is 1/4 of the Bolton brothers, it does say Jab right there. We know he has a gimmick, so we're going to try that in just a little bit. On the top here it says a 30th anniversary with the shark fin, which looks pretty awesome. Now, I mentioned before how the previous packaging of the 90s has them standing up because they have stubbier legs, but here we can see that he's more sitting down, which we'll get into in just a little bit. On this side, Try Me, which says I Bite with Jab. More awesome StreetShark style 90s nostalgic packaging. On the back here, we can see it has the other 4 Bolton brothers as well as the other Dr. Paranoid and his Goonies. And here we can see Jab looking pretty cool, where if you press his fin down, and as well as moving his arm, which enables the gimmick of the hammerhead, which looks pretty cool. We have Jab's bio right there, and then we have the other 2 figures part of this wave, which is Ripster and Slash. Now, San Diego Comic-Con just passed, and we know there's going to be a lot more StreetShark figures coming down the line, so expect me to do reviews on those as well. And we can see if you pull his arm for a headbutting action, which is going to be really awesome. So now let's go ahead and open this figure up and see how great this figure really is. Alright, and here we have Jab outside of his packaging in the shark cage, which again looks freaking amazing. One of my all-time favorite StreetShark figures, of course, and we can see there's a lot of subtle differences compared to the original 90s one, but again, we'll get into that shortly. But the cage all looks cool, some nice scratches, and the sculpting right there on the cage looking pretty awesome. And as mentioned before, they have more articulation, so they're more sitting down inside the package rather than standing up, but this is actually extremely exciting for me, so you can tell my 90s nostalgia is very gushing a lot. But let's go ahead and take Jab out of his cage and see how great this figure really is. Alright, and here we have Jab outside of his shark cage, and I will say this looks freaking fantastic, and it's definitely one of my all-time favorite StreetShark's characters for sure. Now, there's one thing to note here from based on the previous comments on my Ripster review. I will mention that the quality of these figures, although they are actually pretty good for what they are, the material compared to the old 90s one seems a bit more, I guess you can say, weaker, but at the same time it does provide a little more articulation and more posability for your action figure. But at the same time, if you want to compare it to the original 90s, it obviously has like lesser, sturdier quality, but it definitely has that same vibe of giving you that old action figure that you want. Now, the thing to note about Jab is that this obviously reenacts or pays homage to the old 90s version, but at the same time his pants are not necessarily cartoon accurate, so I hope at some point we can get a cartoon accurate Jab with his pants, because if you see from the animated series, you know that Jab has more of a subtle blue black stripes going on here with some different color schemes going on with the blues, but at the same time, you know, the camo designs on this one looks pretty good, and I hope they can do that for the rest of the other figures that are not necessarily cartoon accurate. But nonetheless, the figure is really good. It has like this nice shine to it, like this gold shine, which really makes it pop out a lot more. The muscle definition, details, all that looks really great. Good sculpting, nice rubbery material, can't go wrong with that. Of course, articulation at the arms, allowing you to move it up and sideways, which does give you a lot of good posability as well. Single jointed elbow, allowing you to move it roughly that much. And of course, we have wrist articulation. Now, when it comes to the gimmick on this arm, all you have to do is move this left and right, and it allows the hammerhead part of his face to move, which looks pretty cool. Now, granted that this is one of those gimmicks where people who own the original 90s one always broke off, so that's very unfortunate. So always be careful and mindful of that kind of thing. And if you press this fin right here, it obviously opens the jaw up. Not too much, I don't want to strain it for now, but you pretty much get the idea. And if you own the original one as well, you'll know that the material of the rubber here also deteriorates over time. So I hope that this is not the case for these figures, as they're all in pristine quality, which is good for what it is, but you know, everything else is fine. Good articulation at the legs. Mine seems a little bit loose on the left side, but still good. Nice articulation right there. Very minor, very subtle and minor articulation at the knees. Can't really bend it too much, but does offer decent posability for these small stubby figures. And at the same time, boots, all that looks good. Good deco on the pants, I like that. And of course the eyes all came out really well. Very smooth coloring, everything looks really good. Teeth, nice pearly white with the pink gums, love it. And of course, again, the sculpting and the muscle definition is really the highlight here. So yeah, I absolutely love this figure. Now, before we get into the comparison with the original figure, I will mention that I kind of wish if they do decide to do updated version in terms of cartoon accurate style figures, that Jab would come like with a jetpack or something, but unfortunately that's not the case. But he does have waist swivel as well in case you want to pose your figure in that particular order, but even sideways, this is what makes the figure look cool. Now, again, if you look at the animated series version, you'll know that Jab's face kind of leans down a lot more, which gives it more of a, for him to look at you, whereas these toys, you know, he's facing more upwards, and I get it, they're sharks, but you know, there's certain things that they can definitely improve on for future figures, which if they ever give us. And of course, Jab was more of a darker brown figure as well, or in the cartoon, darker brown. So again, I have no complaints with the color scheme on this figure as well, because it's accurate to the 90s one from Mattel, but still nice line work and sculpting, all that looks really good. Now again, I just hope that at some point they do give us some accuracy as well. But now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, let's take a look at Jab and compare him to the original 90s version. Alright, in here we have both Jab from the 90s and of course the 2024 version. Now, I'm very thankful that the version that I own still has the hammerhead part of it, which is freaking a blessing, because like I mentioned before, everyone continues to break theirs, so I'm really happy to have it. So the differences you can see is a little bit night and day in terms of the coloring, whereas this one's a little more goldish. This one's roughly the same thing, but at the same time it has more of a muted brown color. And of course, stubbier legs, sculpted legs, which, you know, there's no articulation there. And we can see how it's more stubbier. He's more like leaned down, and this one's standing more upright, which is a lot better because it gives us that idea that, you know, he's looking straight at you, which is really good. Now, to quickly go over this 90s version, still continues to carry that same gimmick of the mouthpiece, which, you know, because this is so old, I want to make sure I don't break it off, but you can see the mouth moves there. It has the same molded plastic, which allows you to move this up and down. So, and then you have this one where he has a fisted hand, which again does the same gimmick as the original one. I want to be very careful in moving it, but we can see he has the same gimmick of moving this up and down, which is really cool. Of course, over time the skin deteriorates, and you can see some of the brown seeping underneath through the skin. It has the, you know, the rips right there, which is pretty cool, and he's more like hunched forward. Same camo designs, boots more shinier, which is pretty cool. And even then, just seeing the differences of how they managed to capture the original 90s version compared to the 2024 one, which looks pretty cool. And again, the coloring brown, the teeth roughly looking the same, but you can see they sculpted a little more detailing inside the teeth there, and the gums giving it more of a brighterish pink color. But of course, the face sculpts are kind of night and day in terms of the browns and golds that they use for this figure. And of course, we've seen this figure straightforward, but now let's take a look at the figure sideways, and we can see the differences of what these figures can offer. And again, this figure is more hunched forward, and this one's standing more upright, and both fisted hands, which is pretty good to allowing you to do the gimmick for the hammerhead, which looks really nice. Boots, all that fine. And then this side, roughly the same thing. Sculpt of the arm, which doesn't allow you to have any articulation other than moving it from the shoulder up and down. Whereas this one, you have a wrist articulation and you have elbow articulation as well, which is pretty good. Alright, you guys, so that's basically my jab review from StreetSharks. Thank you guys all so much for subscribing and supporting the RetroShArK. There's going to be a lot more figures to come down the line. I'm literally just getting started with these reviews and showing you guys all these nostalgic toys that I have into my collection. And especially if you're someone that's been here on my previous channel, the RetroShArK, that had over 15,000 subscribers. So thank you guys so much for watching these videos and giving a like and leaving a comment and all that stuff, because it does mean a lot to me. Thank you guys all for watching. Be sure to give a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next review and next episode.